lines. Tonight, West Africa is once again confronted with a familiar and unsettling reality. Another attempted coup, this time in the Republic of Benin. At dawn on Sunday, soldiers led by one Colonel Pascal Tigre stormed national TV, announced the suspension of all democratic institutions, and declared President Patrice Talon ousted. But for the first time in years, the script changed, and swiftly we saw Nigeria's armed forces acting under President Tinubu's orders and in line with ECOWAS protocols, crossed into Benin's airspace and territory, flushing out the coup plotters and restoring constitutional order within hours. Tonight, we're asking some critical questions. Why are coups resurging? Why mostly in French-speaking West Africa? And what does Nigeria's decisive intervention this time signal for ECOWAS' future? I'm joined by security expert Dickson Osagie on the program. Mr. Osagie, that this was one of the fastest coup reversals we've seen in West Africa in decades. From a security standpoint, what does Nigeria's rapid deployment of fighter jets and ground forces tell us about Abuja's new posture toward regional stability?
Fantastic, Nifemi. I'm even surprised that we have an effective response mechanism in place to respond to the coup plotters in Benin Republic. I'm still in shock that we have the capability and ability to respond this fast. But I think I want to congratulate the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Tinubu, for the swift response and also for giving the Nigerian military a marching order to intervene in Benin Republic. I think that has brought a form of, a lovely, beautiful names to the Nigerian people and to the Nigerian country as a whole, because democracy has come to stay in Nigeria and also in other parts of Africa. If you check, Benin Republic is about some few kilometers away from Lagos and also from Nigeria. And if anything happens or goes wrong in Benin Republic, I think Nigeria will be at risk. But for the Nigerian government to respond in speed and momentum to ensure that Lieutenant Colonel Patrice, Lieutenant Colonel Tigris is being hosted, I think it's a welcome development, and it's also an avenue to communicate to our military officers that the constitution of each country should be protected instead of looking at the path of overthrowing any constitutional order. But I think this is a good one, and ECOWAS has done a great job. The first time in history, I've seen in my own eyes that they were able to respond to restore the president of Benin Republic back to office.
Mr. Osagie, trust Nigerians to talk. I've seen tweets like Nigeria went gun a-blazing, and then questions like how come we haven't seen that kind of intervention back at home with terrorists and bandits? How do you think both concepts connect? Do you think it's a fair assessment of our military infrastructure?
For me, I don't think it's a fair assessment because I see it as, regime protection. It simply implies that we have more respect for regime protection than for terrorism and counter-terrorism. Because if we can respond this fast, our 350 guests, they are still missing. I think from the news I heard today, about 100 has been released. We should apply soft methodology.
So we're left with just 153 in Niger.
153, yes. So exactly. I think we should apply such response measures in any given incident in Nigeria, not all about maybe just a coup d'etat and everybody's responding. No, let's also see the protection of lives and property as a component in which our military and our policing system can respond. Because when it comes to response mechanism, we have the preventive measures, we have the proactive measures, and we have the reactive measures. Here, the coup d'etat actually took place, but I think those guys were not 100% successful. But the reactive measures from ECOWAS and from the Nigerian military is so amazing. I'm even in shock as we speak to now. So, the Nigerian military, such measures should be applied in protection of our national territories and also ensuring that our people move around without being intimidated by these criminal elements. The Nigerian military has proven again and again that they have the capability and capacity to go after any criminal element, because the act of those soldiers in Benin Republic is an act of crime. It's a criminal act, to say. So they went after those criminals and they hosted those criminals out. Let's come back to our country, Nigeria, and also apply such response measures in the area of crime prevention and also in the area of, curtailing with crime in progress and also flushing out these terrorists and criminal elements bedeviling the territorial space of Nigeria. The Nigerian military has, confirmed to the international community and to the world that they have the capability to respond. So let's carry on this response mechanism and ensure it's been applied in any given situation, not just for a case of maybe restoring constitutional order or restoring democracy.
Well, it sounds like
all aspects of life. Yeah.
Yes, it sounds like capacity is not the challenge. That has to do with the willpower. Now that we have a Minister of Defense who has just been Chief of Defense Staff, we're really looking forward to see how that changes dramatically. But ECOWAS has been criticized, as you are aware, for being slow, being inconsistent, or even politically selective. Do you think this swift response, as we've seen in Benin, restore some kind of confidence in the ability of the regional bloc to defend democracy, or is it one-off because of their proximity to Nigeria?
I don't think it's because of their proximity to Nigeria. I think the president of Nigeria, President Bola, played a very big role, because if he had not given the Nigerian military that marching order, I don't think this would have been successful. I don't think I think by now the president of the Republic would have been to his way home. But I think it's not about inability to respond, but I think sometimes we lack the political will. Now, what ECOWAS has done has rebuilt confidence of the African people, and also I tell you, more countries that have not been registered in ECOWAS will want to come into ECOWAS, because when you have a regional bloc like ECOWAS, you should have some form of safety and security. And what they have done now is that they've granted security to the people of Benin Republic, that being a member of ECOWAS, this is part of the benefit. And ECOWAS have once again comes to the limelight and also introduce this methodology to the world that, hey, any country that is being overpowered by military power, group of countries can respond and also host out those military power. And I see that's a welcome development, Nipemi. Let's see, let's move on with democracy in our given environment, and also ensure, while we democratize our people and our country or other parts of the continent, while we practice democracy, we must allow leadership to prevail. Good leadership should prevail. Accountability should prevail, and also the will of the people should also prevail. If we have all this in place, and I tell you that democracy is going to be a very beautiful thing, because I tell you, as we speak, a lot of people are complaining about democracy. I've seen on various block people calling for military takeover, which is wrong. The military takeover will never be and can never be upheld to Nigeria. Democracy is the way to go, but let's have good leaders that will lead our country aright and ensure that we all enjoy the terminology called democracy, and the people will be happy that they are being governed from the east, west, and north with the care of God.
Quickly, Mr. Osagie, in a minute if you can, looking ahead, does this intervention deter potential coup plotters in the region? Or does it, because the other option is that it also risks pulling Nigeria into deeper regional security entanglements, especially with juntas now forming alliances against ECOWAS?
Well, I don't think it's going to put us in a state of mess. If you want to go that route, what I actually believe is that it's all about unity of purpose. We have a lot of countries that are members of ECOWAS. So if you have these countries come on board to respond to any coup d'etat within the African region, because if there's a coup in any given country within the African region, it's a threat to the next neighboring state as well, country as well. It's a threat to the next neighboring country. So let's try and see how we flush out this coup d'etat, this guys on uniform that wants to rule with powers, and also ensure that we respond with speed and momentum to make Africa, West Africa, a better place in order for us to practice effective and beautiful democracy system of governance.
Security expert Dickson Osagie, thank you so much for talking to us on the program this evening.
Yes, congratulations to Nigeria. Great response.
Thank you for joining us. After the break, we'll turn our attention